Well, basically myself, I wasn't never meant out to be a rapper. I was an athlete. I figured that I would have been playing pro football or basketball or something, but that didn't work out. So I happened to be in the right place at the right time, and that's how I became the parents of Roxanne.
Let me ask you about Royal Sounds. If I understand correctly, Adrian did summers there and he went back to his mother's house. So were you hanging around with Adrian during the summer, or even when he was gone, were you hanging around with Royal Sounds?
No, basically, I kind of met Adrian a little later on. Him and Fat Rome, R.I.P. Fat Rome. I love you. Rest in peace.
R.I.P. Fat Rome.
And I
Yes,
met
sir.
Adrian a little after the parents of Roxanne, but I never really hung up to Forsyth. Like I say, I came up there through Fat Rome really and just hung up there every now and then because that was a happening spot, in Fort Lauderdale, Lauderdale Mall, Royal Sound of Music, that was the spot. So I just hung up there and hey, the rest is history.
So parents of Roxanne, that was Billy Hines that asked you to do that, right?
Yeah, the story is that they were doing a parents of rock. They were doing a record to counter all the Roxannes. It was a phase thing. Everybody jumping on the Roxanne bandwagon. So they had Lacey Lace, which was my first partner in rapping. She was Puerto Rican. She was very good, talented. And she was doing the mother part. And then they had I'm not sure, a DJ from WIBD trying to do the father part because he was the older guy and had the male voice. So I happened to go with Billy and them guys to the studio that night. And take after take, he couldn't get it down. So Billy said, Jig, you got a deep voice, so you think you can do it? I said, I tried. So I took it home, read it, wrote a few, add to it, and next day it came down, laid it down on the track, and the rest is history.
So after that hit, you did more singles. Was it Billy that approached you for the singles?
Yeah, after that, I think the next one was Doing Time and Why You Get So High. So yeah, we followed that up with another single. And I think after that is when Lace and myself separated and I went somewhat solo and I met my man DJ Crash.
DJ Crash came in the house. That's
So
right.
86, right?
86.
Yes.
Definitely.
How did you meet Crash?
I was interviewing for DJs at the time because that was the thing. Everybody was taking the DJs on the road, so I was basically off of tape. So when I became solo, along with Fat Rome, we were interviewing for DJs, and Crash was one of the interviews. He was young. I think he was
Young,
still
yeah.
in school, right?
Yeah, still in high
so,
school, basically. Yeah.
But when I heard him on the turntables, that ended the interviews right there, and he
Yep.
became my DJ.
How did you get on the turntables, Crash, before that?
Actually, before that, my older brother started DJing, and he really couldn't get the concept of mixing and beat matching down. And I used to come home. I was, right out of middle school, and get on his turntables and figured it out. And that's basically was my start, from my older brother being a DJ. And then from there, hanging out at Royal Sounds at the Lauderdale Mall, Forsyth Records, because it was a record shop and a record label. We used to hang out in the back, listening to new records, scratching, had a turntable and mixer set up in there. And then I found out Gigolo Tony needed a DJ to go on the road. So he used to come in and out of the office. I was in there scratching. It was kind of like, oh, that guy sounds good. And we connected from that point, It was cool.
So then the hit stuff. Smurf Rock, Hokey Pokey. I imagine that took you to new levels, new places. Can you tell me about the first time you realized you reached a level and which single it was?
To be honest with you, I never realized how big I was, at the time. Or really what being a star was, because I always kept a level head, and, it wasn't about the money with me, it was about the girls. That's why I chose the name Gigolo Tony, because I was always into the women and the women was into me. But when we started traveling and started making money, that's when it kind of hit me that, maybe you're a star.
Perhaps you feel the same?
I always kept a level head, more the humble type about it. I was just enjoying being around the studio. I was a studio head, still am a gear head. I was into the mixing boards, the sound, the speakers, the amps. I was always curious about that. and the DJ side of things and the sound side of things. So I guess more on the creative side. That was my intro and passion for the whole thing.
So what was your relationship with Frank Cornelius then?
Uh, Basically, that was one of my teachers as far as learning how to track and what did what knob did the highs, what knob did the lows. Frank Cornelius definitely showed me a lot in those days.
Outside the studio. If I understand correctly, Crash, you did the production. Was it solo or was it with the Wiz Kids that did the production?
Well, with Gigolo Tony, it was Gigolo Tony and I who did production in those days. This was before before that all that stuff, and it was basically me and Gigolo Tony that did production. And it depends on what album you're talking about. The first album, I didn't do any production. The second album, primarily all the production. Right, Ain't It Good to You. But then that was additional production with Frank Cornelius, Gigolo Tony, and maybe a couple other people that was in there.